Hello, everybody. This is the Almighty DF back, and I'm here to talk about the top 5 worst SpongeBob episodes. We're back here for part 2 of the top 10, but now I'm making it top 5, so you get the adjustments, I guess. So, these 5 episodes are going to be the most horrifying and most disgusting, despicable episodes you're going to see on this list. So, without further ado, let's get started.
Excuse me, sir. I hope my horrible ugliness won't be a distraction to you.
Not at all, boy!
At number 5, The Splinter. I know you're wondering, why isn't this around like 3 or 2? Because Nickelodeon barely even puts the Splinter on television, or at times when I feel like watching Nickelodeon in general. But this is a bad episode I see watching. And when I first heard of this episode, I was really concerned on what it was about, since I saw its sister episode, Slide Whistle Stooges. Yeah, but according to this episode, this is disturbing in general. This has no plot at all. It's just SpongeBob having a splinter. And if they want to do something with gross out humor, do it in the right way, like Billy and Mandy. This is just disgusting, and I was disturbed when SpongeBob had a huge thumb that was infected by the splinter, and pus all over it, and just seeing him in pain, it was terrifying. Another problem I have with this episode is the foot fetish. Why does Patrick have a fetish of SpongeBob's feet? You see him you see him just like, you have the Patrick has SpongeBob's foot in his mouth, just like gargling on it, licking it. Ugh, nasty, 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 nasty. But what can I say good about this episode? The beginning was usual SpongeBob charm. I mean, him getting ready for work, the usual shtick, and but this episode is still beyond all gross. If you want to do a plot like this, watch the Mickey Mouse short Flipper Boobatosis. It was an episode where Donald, he had this huge bump on his flipper, and it was called Flipper Boobatosis, and Mickey and Goofy try to helping him cure it off, and they use gross humor in the correct way. And if here's my plot, if they would have made this episode much better. SpongeBob accidentally gets a splinter at work, and he's afraid of going back to the Krusty Krab, thinking that he's gonna trip on something that's wood. That's how I would call the episode in for. Let's go to number 4. If you thought the splinter was disturbing, you're not gonna be in love no more.
Excuse me, sir. I hope my horrible ugliness won't be a distraction to you.
Not at all, boy!
At number 4, To Lava Patty. As we see the new writers of the show trying to get in with SpongeBob, there's this, Mr. Enter had mentioned this guy a lot on his channel when he was reviewing bad episodes of SpongeBob. He goes by the name Zeus Service. He has written one of the worst episodes of SpongeBob of all time. And if you notice, as modern SpongeBob Ed went on, some of these episodes have been really disturbing and this is one of these episodes, To Lava Patty. SpongeBob falls in love with a Krabby Patty. Are you feeling any sort of way on how wrong that is? Because it is wrong on so many levels. Basically, the plot of this episode is that, like I said, SpongeBob falls in love with a Krabby Patty. He starts to get infatuated with it, taking it to carnival rides, picnics. It was... to me, it felt wrong dating food. And I say that because it's wrong I think, to be honest, it's wrong in general. And now let's just go to the way how SpongeBob acts in this episode. He acts like a jerk to his friends, just like in Waiting, because yeah, the funniest to be honest, the episode had a couple of funny lines, like Patrick saying, "I've been replaced by a sandwich." That's honestly one of the funniest lines in the episode. Yeah, it was. Yeah, but it's still, why was this episode made in the first place? I have no idea. But if they were going to make an episode like this, at least, yeah, also, like I did with the Splinter, I'm giving my own thoughts on how they would have written this episode well. SpongeBob accidentally knocks himself in the kitchen, and then he thinks that he sees a beautiful woman, and that beautiful woman is actually a Krabby Patty in real life. And there's another episode of SpongeBob like this called Married to Money, where Mr. Krabs falls in love and marries Cash. And that's another episode I would have put on the list, but it's very stupid, but I don't know where to put it on the list, so yeah. And also, check out We Bare Bears, the episode Burrito. It has similar premise. Grizz has, like, this connection to this burrito, which Panda and Ice Bear don't know. And so, there's a reason why he is infatuated with the burrito. I won't spoil it for you, but check out the episode for yourself. Yeah, but the Lava Patty is just awkward and just disturbing. Let's go to number 3, people. It ain't gonna be pretty. Junior! No!
Excuse me, sir. I hope my horrible ugliness won't be a distraction to you.
Not at all, boy!
Number 3 is Big Sister Sam. If you thought Patrick was a jerk in those previous installments, you haven't seen jerkiness to the maximum. In this episode, Patrick says that his sister's coming to visit him, and SpongeBob is excited for that. When she comes, she is horrible. And I mean literally, she's destroying Squidward's property, like dismantled Patrick's house, and even made SpongeBob's house even like this. And SpongeBob is just trying his best to like make sure things go with the flow, make sure everything's alright, but Patrick's just acting oblivious to what his sister's been doing. Another problem with this episode I find is that why is Patrick such an imbecile in this episode? And didn't you say in Something Smells that you probably don't have a sister? Well, at least another good thing I found about this episode is the way how Patrick said his backstory. At least Patrick knows that he probably did or lose his sister. It's like Finding Dory, but I find Big Sister Sam to be like a worst, most horrible version of Finding Dory. At least Finding Dory was actually like amazing. But this episode is horrible by any means. Squidward shouldn't really be deserving like all like the mess that he's been into. Yeah, I know. So, Big Sister Sam, number 3. Number 2 is an episode that has 10 seconds of disturbing imagery that you're gonna see.
Excuse me, sir. I hope my horrible ugliness won't be a distraction to you.
Not at all, boy!
Number 2, Stuck in the Ringer. This is awful. Awful on so many levels. This is hypocritical, despicable, and the worst SpongeBob torture porn I have ever seen in my life. And that's saying a lot. This episode starts off okay. Until when SpongeBob he trips over a rubber ducky and a bar of soap and he gets stuck in his ringer. You know, for this episode, it is awful. It's awful on so many levels. I hate this episode so much. Patrick is a jerk. He doesn't even try helping help someone to go to the doctor. He just helps him do his usual activities, like going to the playground or like the carnival, going to yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, there's also Super Weenie Head Juniors. That's the only decent thing in the episode. And then when SpongeBob calls out Patrick, everyone gangs up on SpongeBob because it was his fault. How, people? How? And then SpongeBob falls into this deep depression until he starts crying. And then and then the moral was crying always solves your problems. Am I missing something here? This episode was awful. And the ending was honestly bad as well. SpongeBob and Patrick get stuck in the ringer together at the same time. There's really else nothing to say about this episode, but besides how horrible it is. So, I'm gonna give out 2 honorable mentions, okay? So, here they are. Atlantis SquarePants for the first honorable mention. I found this episode to be quite decent, and the musical numbers to be actually pretty good. But I do see some people hating this episode, especially why have David Bowie as a guest star but not having a musical number. That was another problem. Another problem with modern SpongeBob is its use of celebrity guest voices. And some of these celebrity guest voices actually have a specific talent. Like, why have Dave Bowie not sing in a musical episode? Truth or Square? Another TV movie episode that was hated by many fans of the show. And this episode was to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the show in general, as it didn't show no clips from the actual from actual previous episodes. But like I said about Atlantis Francis, I thought it was pretty good, especially the first musical number with SpongeBob and the song "A Day Like This." And you're hearing it play in the background right now. And also, I played the video game, and the video game is actually pretty fun. And it is the best nostalgic video game, as you could play through 10 levels based on the first 3 seasons of SpongeBob. So yeah, that's what I like. So yeah, Truth or Square is not on this list.
Excuse me, sir. I hope my horrible ugliness won't be a distraction to you.
Not at all, boy.
Number 1 course meal. Just like the Splinter, I never heard of this episode. I heard of his sister episode, and that sister episode was Gary in Love. A pretty good, decent episode, like a 1940s Popeye cartoon. But yeah, 1 course meal is horrendous. It's mean-spirited, and it's very, very, very horrible. The episode's about Plankton having a fear of whales. Yeah, and I say they already developing fears in stuff like in modern SpongeBob. And I have problems with the episode. First problem, Plankton should not be afraid of whales, especially Pearl, since the egg. If you watch the episode, the algae is always greener. He is not afraid of Pearl in that episode. Second, couldn't Plankton find a way on how to face his fear on whales? Why make a suicide joke on a children's cartoon? Yeah, there was a suicide joke on the show, and it is bad. It is terrible, and it's very sad, mean-spirited, and just horrible. You know, SpongeBob itself has been going at it around its low points, but this is no exception on how bad this episode is. I find remotely nothing good about I find nothing good about this episode at all. So yeah, 1 course meal is the worst episode of SpongeBob of all time. And for Nickelodeon, SpongeBob has been in this. It has been taking a break lately. At least people say that season 9 has been doing much better, and the second movie, Sponge Out of Water, was actually pretty good. And I mean, will we ever see SpongeBob's like greatness again? And plus, we actually get some good Nicktoons now lately, like Loud House, Harvey Beaks, and Ninja Turtles. So yeah, I hope you like this list, everyone. Like, share, subscribe if you're new to this channel, and I will be doing the best episodes of SpongeBob. So I hope you like this episode, and this is the All My DF signing out.